Hello automators, thanks for taking some time out of your busy holiday schedules. I'm sure you're all busy having fun with your friends and family, and you're taking time out just to listen to me a little bit here. And the reason I wanted to make this video is to connect a little bit ultimately with you all. You know, this has been a wild ride for me here on the channel, and I think we're picking up a lot of steam, and I want to give you some insight into who I am, how I ended up here doing the things I'm doing, and just talk to you just a little bit about where we're headed in 2019. So just to give you some basics about Brian, that's my first name here. I live in the province of Alberta in Canada, and you know, I'm kind of a small town kid. I grew up in a relatively small city near where I live really today as well, and now I live in a rural community. So I'm even out kind of in the country here, and so I've always lived a bit of a small town life and a closer community, things like that. Now, what that meant for me as a kid was that meant I had a lot of free time to figure out what I wanted to do. And growing up young, I had lots of good parks and lots of good fields and things that small town kids should be doing, and that was great. But it quickly became apparent to me and my parents that computers and technology was really going to be the thing that got me up in the morning. And so from a very young age, I think I was around 9 or 10, we had a computer in the house, and I was tinkering with that computer right from a young age. So I think there's a lot of origin stories of tech type people that sound like that now that are around my age. Now, what that eventually turned into was interest in things like programming, interest in robotics. I mean, I took robotics in a high school that must have been the first program of its kind, and we were modifying the code that was controlling that, creating circuit boards. I can't believe what I was doing. I'd struggle doing it these days, to be honest. But that and some comm tech or communication technology type courses really started to tune me in the technology direction. So what all of that really turned into was a decision around what I was going to do essentially for a career, and it took me some time to decide. I kind of struggled actually with this decision, and so I ended up in engineering. And engineering in Canada here, pretty serious program. They literally tell you the first day when you come in, they say, look around you, the 8 people around you, only one of you are going to make it through the program. And they were actually right about that. That was kind of the numbers. And in the first year, it was 1 out of 5 kind of thing, and thereafter it just got thinner and thinner. So it was a tough program, but that first year of engineering helped me again focus in that I wanted to be in computers, and I came out a computer engineer. Now, through that, I ended up in industrial automation. I worked for a software company first, actually, and then I ended up in industrial automation. And nowadays I work in the oil and gas industry as more of a electrical engineer, actually, which is strange to me, but you follow the career path you have. So all of that leads to a lot of technology being used in my life, and really for a lot of people being their person who helped them with this technology. So that's kind of how I grew up. That gives you a good idea of who I am a little bit here anyways. And again, what this really did for me is it turned me into the person who was always playing with technology, who was always applying that technology and helping people apply that in their lives. And I haven't been able to do that on a more meaningful scale. It's really helpful, or it's really fun to help somebody with one problem, but I'll tell you guys, it's a lot more fun to help 1,000 of you or 10,000 of you, and now we're getting into the 100,000 of you sort of realm with any specific video. So that's what triggered me. Is I do have a will to help people, and I will say that in general I haven't been able to do that necessarily in my career. And so this led me to number one, engineering is a very structured discipline here, very structured career. There's not necessarily a lot of creativity in that. And in the past, actually, as a child, my father had filmed a lot of hockey and filmed a lot of different events. That was something he did on the side. And what that meant is I had experience with, just working with cameras a little bit, not necessarily all the details, but it gave me an insight into doing video a little bit, and my career, in general, gave me a will and a want to be creative and helpful to people. One child here, and to my wife and I, he's the world, and he's just 6 years old, and he's a ton of fun. And when he was first born, you watch children start to integrate or interact with technology, and some of it's terrifying, and some of it's funny, and some of it's fun. And I was watching one day, actually, he was watching a YouTube video of a monster truck just slamming into things over and over and over again. It was an animated monster truck, and it was slamming into barrels and they were exploding, and then it was slamming into bombs and they were exploding, and I was going, what am I allowing my child to do here? And then I had a second thought. I can do better than this. And YouTube was clearly a platform where I could start kind of feeding some of those needs I talked about a little bit earlier. So, you go and you start something. I started animating monster trucks, still blowing up stuff, because I saw that as a critical component to the success that I was seeing in this video. In this whole series of videos, actually, there was a ton of them. And so I started animating that, but what I was doing was helping parents with just a little bit better of content for their kids to watch, so it had an educational spin to it. And that was really important to me. Now, ultimately, that channel I've stopped doing a long time ago. I created that channel, and I kind of saw the way the market was going, and also I wasn't able to keep up with some of these really, really good animators. I never got to that level. But what it did do for me is taught me a little bit about YouTube, and it gave me a better focus into what I'd actually like to do. And so that brings me really to how I started this. After that kids channel, which the link is down below, don't laugh at me too much as you guys watch that stuff, but it gave me some time to think about what I really wanted to do, and it drove me in a direction of applying basically technology. What I figured out is I wanted to help people, but I wanted to do it in something that interested me. And I'd been in that industrial automation world. I'd programmed PLCs, I'd created HMIs, I'd done these industrial type of things, and the home automation space was really blowing up. And I was seeing a lot of people struggle with that. It was really a niche thing, and it doesn't need to be a niche thing. That's the funny thing about this technology. It doesn't need to be that hard. And so I found myself with a draw into that. And the truth is, as I started to really delve in deep into this stuff, I was finding some of those difficulties that we all run into. And the difference between myself and some people are just that I kind of inherently know how some of these things work, why they're doing the things they do. I understand some of the programming behind them. And so it allows me to sort out sometimes those issues a little quicker than people. And that's what I want to pass on to everyone is, here's what I've figured out, and here's how we can go forward as a community. And that's the other critical piece to this. I'm kind of skipping around a little bit here, but I want to help people, but I also want to build a community of people who can help other people. And that's the idea of the channel and of Automate Your Life going forward in 2019 is it's time to build this as a community and really grow it out. And that's because, again, home automation doesn't need to be difficult. It doesn't need to be hard for us to apply. And ultimately, what I want to do with this technology and what I want to do with the channel is save people time. So, you've heard me here a few times here and there saying, I'm going to save you some time today. And that's really critical to me, because our modern lives, I've watched this my whole life growing up, our modern lives just get busier and busier and busier. And it really bothers me that we're just kind of along for this ride, and we aren't eliminating things from our lives, we're making them more complicated. And we sit on these phones now, and we have so much to do actually on these phones, or a lot of people do, and it's time to apply this technology in a way that gives us back the important time. And that's what I want to focus here on 2019. We're not just going to say, how do you set up a device? It's going to be, how do you apply that device to your life and make it easier as a result? And I want to save people time, I want to save people energy, I want to save people money, and that's where we're headed when we talk about automating our lives. So overall, guys, I don't want to take up, days and days and days of your time here during the holidays, but this video was really intended to give you my origin story. And back there, you can see the Superman tin can, and growing up, I read a lot of DC comic books, and one of my favorite books was The Origin Story. And so that's always something that I've made sure to include in anything I do. There's an origin story for the videos I was showing you earlier, the kids stuff. There's an origin story here as well, and that's the point of this video. I just wanted to give you a little bit about Brian, who I am, and then ultimately connect with you guys and give you a forum, give you a chance here to stand up and say what you want to see, what you've liked, what you haven't liked. Go ahead, leave those down below, or just leave those well wishes to the community here for the holiday season. That's ultimately what this is all about: friends and family, and the ability to spend more time. So go spend more time with your friends and family. Thanks for watching everything here this year on the channel, and of course, there's going to be a ton of new great content for you in 2019.